Hi everyone. In this tutorial I'll go through the step-by-step techniques I use to model this object you see here. I'm not sure if there's an official classification for this type of object, but it seems loosely reminiscent of a cubic gyroid of some kind, or some kind of minimal surface perhaps. Mostly I just thought the shape looked rather interesting, so I put together this quick render you see here using the Corona engine for 3dsmax. Alright, the process is very simple, and it's all standard tools and strategies to achieving this shape. Okay, so I'll show it to you in 3dsmax, and then perhaps I'll make a video for Blender as well. The process is going to be quite simple over there as well, but there will be some variations in how this is going to be achieved. So, alright, let's jump right into it. Here it is inside of 3dsmax, the viewport version. Okay, this object also is an excellent candidate for 3D printing. I think it would make a pretty interesting real world object to examine and hold in your hand. And I actually exported this as an STL and ran it through Netfab just to test the model, and it passed all tests in Netfab, so theoretically it should be perfectly suitable to print if you wanted to do that. So, alright, so here it is. We'll go ahead and delete that from the scene, and I'll just start out by saying that I'm using I have my units set to centimeters for this particular project. Okay, and each one of these grid squares equals 1 centimeter. Okay, so just in case you wanted to follow along to scale, you can set yours to the same. Alright, so the first step is just to open extended primitives, and we'll use our trusty Hydra shape here. Alright, and we'll just draw it out. Now, since I had performed this process before, it's resulting in the previous model that I used. So just for you, it'll start out like this. You'll just switch it over here in the family parameters to cube octa. Alright, and this is the result of that. Okay, so now with this object, we'll go right ahead to edit poly, and we'll go to the face mode. Select one of the quadrilateral faces on the object, and then just select similar to grab them all. Okay. Next step is I'm going to shift click my extrude, and I'm going to extrude by polygon. We're going to go 1 centimeter. Okay. And just hit the plus sign to go to make a second extrusion on top of that one, and that'll also be 1 centimeter. Okay. And then we'll just grow that selection once. Alright, and then we'll shift click bevel, and we'll bring up bevel, go to by polygon, and we'll bring it out, let's say 1 centimeter again, and we'll make the outline maybe 0.08. We can go a little bit more than that, so let's go 0.1. Okay, so it's 1 centimeter is the height, and the outline is 0.1. Okay, so that leaves you with this fractal looking object. Alright, so now with the faces still selected, go ahead and remove those, just delete them. Okay, and this is what we're left with now, and I'm looking at this from the front view here. Okay, and something interesting you'll notice, and this will help in the process. When you're looking at this at an angle from the front view, you'll see that this top piece looks like an X. Okay, And if you roll around the object to the next arm, you'll see that that one looks also like an X when you're looking directly down into the hole here. Alright, see, it's an X shape. However, if we go back to the front view and then just turn it to the side, now I'm looking at it from the left side, you'll see that the arm resembles a cross or a T. Okay, so we're going to work on these X shapes here. Okay, so we'll start in the front view, and if you want to ensure you're in the front view, just click the F hotkey and then go ahead and click Z to zoom in, and then just press P to go back to perspective. Alright, and that'll ensure that you're looking at it from the front view if you don't have your direction cube active. Alright, so we're just going to get it at an angle here, 45-degree angle, and you'll be looking straight down through one of the holes here on the first X at the top. Alright, and we'll go ahead down into edge mode here, and I'm just going to turn it slightly and grab the edge here that's at the bottom of this this arm at the top. Alright, I want the bottom edge, and I'm going to select the edge just across from that here. Alright, and I'm going to bridge those two edges together. Just as simple as that. All that is just a standard bridge with no segments. Alright, so then I'll go to the other arm and I'll select the bottom edge there, and I'll do the same thing on the other side and just bridge it. Okay, and this is where having bridge, I'm using the hotkey for my bridge command, but yeah, bridge is also right up here in the graphite ribbon, and it's over here in the edit poly command panel as well. Okay, you can just click that and then repeat the process. I recommend mapping bridge to a hotkey or using the default hotkey for it in this particular example, because we're going to be using it often. Alright, so now that we have those two, those pairs of edges bridged, we'll go ahead and close up that that bridge on the bottom here. You see these two edges that I'm selecting here. Okay, and I'm just going to bridge those two together as well to close that up right there. Alright, now I'll go over to the other side, and on the new bridge that I just created, I'll select the one edge, and I'll select the edge right next to it, and I'll bridge those as well. Alright, so there's the X that we started with. Now let's just tumble down a little bit and go to the bottom arms, and I'll select the edge there and the one across from it, and I'll bridge them. And then I'll grab the new bridge here and select that edge and the one underneath it and bridge those. And I'm going to just do that across here as well. Alright, because we're going to remain symmetrical all the way around. Alright, so I'm just bridging, just closing faces up here. Alright, so now I'm underneath it, and I'm going to select this one and just rotate a little bit so I can get a view on that one, and bridge. And you got to be careful here that you're not selecting anything on the back side. So make sure when you're selecting your edges that you're just selecting the two edges you want to bridge and nothing else, because a mistake like that could, you'll have to go back later on if you didn't notice you did it and make the corrections. Alright, so we'll bridge those two together. Now on the other arm, same thing. Alright, so bridge that, and then on a new face, go ahead and bridge it to the edge underneath it. Alright, so now we're tumbling around again, and you can see on this other X, the top two arms are in fact attached, so we're going to do the bottom portion. Alright, so I'll just bridge those, and select these two edges and bridge. Alright. And we'll roll over to the other side here and repeat. And this is just a repetitious procedure, but very necessary to get the result we're looking for. Okay, so then we go underneath, and at this point you'll see that we're completed all the way around. Alright, and we can verify that. I'm just hitting F and Z and then P. Alright, and back in perspective in the front view, and if I roll around to the back, you'll see these are connected. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. I'm in the left view now, and you'll notice here that these cross shapes are all connected. That connected everything up together. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing now. To the top open faces, we're going to connect one of those side edges to an arm and just bridge. Alright, so selecting a side edge on the open face to a side edge on one of the arms there and bridge. Okay, and this is very simple. I was actually considering just to pause the video and you know, go to the end of this process, but you know, I thought it's better if I show you exactly what I'm doing all the way around. Although it's monotonous, it's this is the necessary steps. Okay, so it doesn't take too long, to be honest. Alright, we're just bridging all of these up here. As you can see what I'm doing, it's self-explanatory really. I'm just grabbing the edge here, and creating a face. Okay, very, very simple. Alright, so now I'm down on this one. I'm a little close to it, but I can still see what I'm doing here, so I'm going to continue. Just rolling around to get all of the... You're probably wondering why I'm not doing them all at once. And believe me, I've tried it, and it just does not... Bridge won't work. It's just too confusing for the tool, and I'll presume that the same is going to be true in no matter what package you're using. You're probably going to have to go one by one like this. I know that I've done this object in Blender and used create face to create these faces instead of bridge, and it just has to be done this way. Alright, so we're all the way around now. We're just going to do the same thing here on these crossed ones on the sides. Okay, so we're almost done. I'm just going to grab the top face here, the edge on the top face, and just connect it to an edge on the side. Alright, so the top with this arm. Okay, and I'll roll around so that I can get a good view on these edges. I don't want to select anything that is going to give me problems later. Alright, so this edge and this edge. Alright, and there's just one more arm left. Okay, we're almost finished. This is the last remaining one, so we go here and here. Oops. So here to here, and then from here to here. And you could probably see already that there's going to be tons of variations to this shape. Just by what I'm doing here, you can go ahead and experiment later on and try to bridge different edges together, perhaps twist them or cross them, and see what kind of result that presents. But in this case, we're going to do it this way. All right, because I really like how this object looks. I think I might get this 3D printed. All right, so now that we have everything bridged up together, we're just going to go ahead and apply a turbo smooth on top of that edit poly. Alright, now it's starting to look more like a gyroid of some sort. Okay, and you can see now we have, you know, rounded holes almost every direction you look. You can see right through this object. Okay, which is pretty interesting how symmetrical it is. Alright, so anyway, that's a turbo smooth on top of the edit poly, just one iteration. Alright, and on top of that, we're going to add another edit poly. Okay, and we're going to do some cleanup here. What I might do here is go ahead and grab these two edges, and you can see where I'm at right here on the object. Okay, I want to grab these two edges because they're going to be too close together and will cause pinching when we add another turbo smooth later on. We want a nice clean result here. So grab those two edges, go ahead to your select similar, and just click your select similar, and it should grab them all the way around the object exactly the same. All right, and then we'll just remove those edges. Control remove, control backspace on the keyboard, and that will remove the edges along with the vertices. Okay, and this will give us that's just for giving us a cleaner subdivision later. All right, so now that we're at this step, we can go ahead and add a shell modifier. All right, and you'll see that as soon as I added that shell modifier, my edges lit up here, and I'll tell you why that is. But I'm using an inner amount of 0.1 centimeters and an outer amount of 0.1 centimeters so that we have an even shell. Okay, it's even on the outer and inner. All right, but we're not going to shell it too much because we don't want our edges to start crossing here as they tend to do with the shell modifier. So just a little bit, 0.1 and 0.1. Now, if you scroll down in the shell modifier, you'll notice that you have some options down here. I have my select edges turned on, and that you'll see highlights all of the edge faces in the shell. Okay, and we want those selected. We're going to add another edit poly and go into face mode. You'll see they're still selected now with the edit poly on top, so we can use that in the following step. In the graphite ribbon under the polygons rollout is the outline tool. I'm going to shift click on it so that it brings up the caddy, and with these edges these faces selected, I'm going to just outline them to about 0.12 centimeters. Okay, and all that's doing is thickening these faces. All right, and I'll accept that. And I'm doing this because I want to add a couple iterations of relax on it without thinning them out too much. And what the relax operation did was just smooth everything out a little bit. It's going to give a cleaner result later, okay, in the next step. So, all right, so that's that. And now with everything still selected here, I'm going to shift click the Inset Tool, and we'll give it, that's a little too much, we'll give it an inset of anywhere between 0.03 and 0.04. In this case, I'm using 0.04 as my inset. All right, and that's just going to maintain some sharp edges around here. All right, so now what we can do is just finish this off by adding another Turbo Smooth modifier, and you could see now with the new Turbo Smooth added that we have a nice clean result down here where we removed those edges before. That would have been pinching a little bit here and causing some topological problems. So that's why we did that. Okay, so here it is with one iteration, and I'm going to increase that to 2 iterations. Now, I recommend 2 iterations for a nice smooth result here. If you're just going to use this object as perhaps a digital asset, like for instance some kind of decor in a digital scene for rendering, or you know, a pendant of some sort. This is perfect for a pendant object. You can run a necklace through there or something. There's so many holes in it. But if you're just going to render, then 2 iterations will give you a nice smooth result. However, if you're going to 3D print, you can put another edit poly on here, and if you set all of the faces to hard, you'll see what'll happen. You're going to get all of these hard edges here. You'll see everything is faceted, and this is actually what if you export this as an STL and go to print this, you're going to get some, possibly, depending on the size of your print, you might get some artifacts because of the faceting, but I'm not sure if that's going to affect anything too much. I would go, however, with, if I were 3D printing it, I would definitely go with 3 iterations. And now, if we delete that one and go ahead and harden all the faces, you'll see that it did virtually nothing there, just some slight faceting, but that's not going to be noticeable in any 3D print. So And that's it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I will be possibly doing a Blender tutorial on this. Everything is basically the same in Blender, just a few workflow differences, but I'll do one anyway for the sake of Blender users who may not be familiar with the terminology and commands in 3ds Max. Alright, but I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, I think this is a very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing object, especially for a print, but also as just a digital asset. I hope you agree, and hope you found this useful. Alright, and I'll be back with another tutorial very soon. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more. Alright, see you soon. Thanks.